Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to help you get smarter, faster by unpacking essential sources. And today, we're jumping into a really important one, Kathryn Finney's Build the Damn Thing. How to start a successful business if you're not a rich white guy.
Yeah, this book is less rah-rah motivation and more like a practical field guide, Finney's got serious credentials. Yale-trained epidemiologist, founder of Genius Guild.
And she actually did it herself, right? One of the first black women with a seven-figure exit from an internet startup, the budget fashionista.
Exactly. So she knows the terrain firsthand. She's walked the walk.
And her core idea, it really grabbed me. She frames entrepreneurship as a video game, but not everyone starts on the same level.
Right. That's the key analogy. You've got the entitled's. She defines them as wealthy, white, straight, cisgender males. And then you have the builders, which is basically everyone else trying to build something.
It's a pretty stark way to put it, but it highlights systemic advantage, doesn't it? The entitled's, they start on easy mode, basically. Full armor, cheat codes.
Extra lives, the works. Meanwhile, the builders, they're thrown into the advanced levels right away, often with no armor, no special tools, no safety net. It really resonates because it explains so much frustration.
So the book is essentially a playbook for the builders, a tactical six-step guide for navigating this rigged game. And it's all built around what she calls the 4 Ps: potential, process, performance, and pivot.
Yeah, those 4 Ps are the backbone. Our goal today is to really break down those steps, show you how they work in practice.
Okay, let's dive in. The first couple of steps focus inward, which feels different from a lot of startup advice.
It really is. Step 1 is get your mind right, which is all about potential, your potential, regardless of what the world expects. Finney argues that for builders, success has to start internally.
Why that insistence on the internal? Why is it 100% internal for builders specifically?
Well, think about the pressure. Entitled founders, they kind of get permission to fail. It's almost expected, like a learning step, a badge of honor sometimes.
Right. Fail fast, learn quickly.
It's exactly. But builders, they often face the outright expectation of failure from investors, maybe even family, society. It's a completely different psychological burden. It's toxic, frankly.
That's a huge distinction. Permission versus expectation. It makes embracing risk, which is core to entrepreneurship, so much harder. She quotes Michael Jordan.
Right, the famous, "I failed over and over again, and that is why I succeed." But Finney points out you can't just apply that quote universally without acknowledging the systemic hurdles builders face. Jordan's context is different.
Okay, so getting your mind right is step 1. That leads into step 2, building your personal success toolbox. This sounds like the process P, the practical stuff.
Exactly. This is about building your personal infrastructure for the long haul. Things like defining your core values. She lists examples like integrity, empathy, clarity, fearlessness. These become your non-negotiables.
And I thought the personal mission statement part was interesting, just answering, who am I? She even shares a story about how not having that clarity cost her organization millions in a pitch.
Yeah, because investors are often betting on you, the founder, as much as the idea, right? Especially early on. So that internal clarity is vital. Part of this toolbox is also the personal advisory board, the PB.
And that's different from a regular board of directors.
Totally different. Your PB members, they need to want you to win personally, not just the company. And crucially, they have to be willing to tell you the truth, even when it's ugly. No yes men allowed.
Okay, values, mission, PB. But then there's the really grounding tool, the exit number.
Yes. This is super critical and often overlooked. Your exit number is the specific amount of monthly revenue your business needs to generate before you can safely leave your day job.
And she emphasizes this isn't just smart planning for builders, it's often survival.
Absolutely. She cites the wealth gap data like median wealth for Black American families around $17,000 versus $171,000 for white families. When you have that little cushion.
10 times less.
Right. You just can't afford the standard advice of quit your job, burn the boats, follow your passion. That's potentially disastrous advice for someone without generational wealth.
It's what she calls financial suicide. You need that proof of concept, that revenue, before making the leap.
Precisely. Preparation is key.
Okay, that internal foundation and planning makes a lot of sense. Let's shift gears to the actual business idea. Step 3. You're not your customer, and step 4 is getting to product market fit. This sounds like the performance P.
You got it. This is where the rubber meets the road. Does your idea actually perform in the market? And the absolute golden rule here is your business must solve a problem people are willing to pay a premium for.
Otherwise,
Otherwise, it's a hobby, a potentially expensive hobby. You might think it's a great idea, but if no one will pay for the solution,
but how do you know? Everyone thinks their idea is genius, right? That it solves something important.
that's why the step is called "You're not your customer." You have to detach your ego. Finney uses a really tough example from her own family, their dry cleaning business. It seemed like a good idea and needed service.
But it failed.
Yeah, lost 7 figures. Because while people needed dry cleaning, they weren't willing to pay a premium for their specific execution at that time. They mistook a general need for a scalable, profitable business, solving a specific pain point people would pay extra for.
Ouch. So how do you avoid that trap? She has 4 questions, right? To validate the problem.
Yep, 4 key questions. First, is it a genuine pain point? Is someone actively looking for a solution? She suggests checking Twitter, see what people are complaining about.
Huh, good tip. Okay, what's second?
Second, is it scalable? Is this a problem lots of people have or just you and your cousin? Third, how are people solving it now? And crucially, will they pay for your way of solving it? Is your solution better enough to justify the cost or the switch?
And the fourth.
Fourth, how often will they pay? Are these one-off customers, or can you build a repeatable revenue stream? That's vital for long-term viability.
Okay, problem defined. Then step 4 is using that build, measure, learn loop, the BML loop, to get to product market fit. This is about testing quickly and cheaply.
Exactly. The build part is about the MVP, minimal viable product. Build the absolute cheapest version possible to test the core idea. Under $100, she suggests. Maybe a simple landing page for software, a clay model for hardware.
Keep it lean.
Super lean. The goal isn't perfection, it's validation.
And the learn part sometimes takes real commitment. Like those founders of Squire, the barbershop booking app. You mentioned they actually bought a barbershop.
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but they couldn't figure out the real pain point from the outside. So they bought a shop to get deep domain knowledge. That's how they discovered the huge issue was the 20% average missed appointment rate.
Wow, that's serious learning. Okay, so build,
Yeah.
learn. What about the measure part? How do you measure interest cheaply?
That's where she introduces the ugly baby test.
The ugly baby test. Okay, explain that one.
Huh. Yeah. It means you need honest feedback,
Right.
right? Not from your friends and family who will always tell you your baby's beautiful. You test with strangers.
So how do you do that?
Spend about $100 on Google or Facebook ads. Point them to that really simple MVP landing page that explains your solution. And then you measure.
You measure what specifically? What's the magic number?
You're looking at the click-through rate, the CTR. Finney says if you get a CTR of 1% or more on Facebook or 2% or more on Google with just that $100 spend, that's a pretty strong signal that the market is actually interested in what you're offering.
Okay, 1% Facebook, 2% Google. That's a concrete benchmark. Much better than just guessing.
Way better. It's real data, fast and cheap.
All right, very practical. Let's talk team and money. Step 5 is squad goals, and step 6 is getting the bag, funding.
Right. Step 5 focuses on the team because, well, team fit is incredibly linked to market fit. The stats are Russ. Something like 65% of startups fail because of co-founder conflict.
65%. Wow. Okay, so getting the team structure right is critical. She outlines 4 archetypes, doesn't she, to avoid that conflict?
Yeah, 4 key roles you need covered, even if one person wears multiple hats at the very beginning. First, the doer. That's the person just getting stuff done in the early chaos, often the CEO.
Makes sense. Who's next?
Second, the lieutenant. Think COO. This person translates the CEO's vision into actual, actionable steps. They handle the operations.
Got it. Doer, lieutenant.
Third is the strategist. This is the big picture thinker, always asking what's next, looking ahead, anticipating market shifts.
And the 4th?
The economist. Your financial person, your accountant. Absolutely critical for managing cash flow, ensuring you're compliant, making sound financial decisions. Not just your buddy who's good with numbers, a real professional. Covering these bases helps prevent friction over who's responsible for what.
Okay, that structure makes sense. Which brings us to step 6, getting the bag, the funding piece. Finney has specific advice here, especially for builders, right? Wait for equity funding.
Yes. Her advice is generally to seek equity-based funding, like from venture capitalists, only after you've proven product market fit and you need the money specifically to scale.
Why? Wait, why not get the money earlier?
Leverage and liability. When you go to investors with proven traction, proven performance, you're in a much stronger negotiating position.
Yeah.
You keep more ownership. You're not selling a dream, you're selling acceleration for a proven model. Plus, it reduces your personal financial risk.
Okay, but if you do go for VC money, You need to understand their game. This is the VC math part.
Exactly. VCs aren't betting on every company to be a modest success. Their model relies on huge wins because most of their investments fail. Like 75% might return nothing or very little.
So they need those one or two unicorns.
Right. They need investments that can return maybe 3x to 5x their entire fund just to cover all the losses and provide returns to their own investors. So if you pitch them a solid $1 million idea, they're likely not interested. It doesn't move the needle for their fund math.
They need to see that path to $1 billion or something massive.
Pretty much. Which is why VC isn't the right fit for every great business. If your market is, say, $50 million, it could be a fantastic business for you, but it's not a VC play.
So what are the alternatives for builders then?
Well, she's a big proponent of crowdfunding. It bypasses the VCs, it's more democratic, and you can raise money often without giving up equity. You leverage your network.
But it's not easy money, is it? There's a catch.
Definitely not easy. The key is momentum. You generally need to raise about 50% of your total goal within the first 48 hours of the campaign launching.
50% in 2 days. Wow.
Yeah. It means you need serious preparation before you launch. Warming up your network, getting commitments lined up, it's a major effort.
And taking the wrong kind of money or taking it too early can be fatal. She uses the Nasty Gal example for this, right?
Exactly. Nasty Gal took a lot of VC money, and that money came with intense pressure for hypergrowth. Quadruple sales, massive new headquarters.
Stuff the company wasn't ready for.
Right. It forced them into unsustainable growth, destroyed the company culture, the core of what made it successful initially, and ultimately led to bankruptcy. It's a cautionary tale. Finney's point is clear. Not all money costs the same. Some money comes with expectations that can kill your business.
That perfectly illustrates the final P, doesn't it? Pivot.
Yeah.
Sometimes the wrong money forces a destructive pivot. Okay, let's try to synthesize this. Get your mind right. Build that internal toolbox, especially the exit number. Apply the 4 Ps. Potential, process, performance, pivot. Use that build, measure, learn loop relentlessly to make sure people will actually pay for what you're building.
Absolutely. And underlying all of this is Finney's own experience, proving that the initial dismissal she faced, the idea that certain markets weren't viable, well, the entitles were often just wrong. The market for black hair care products, for instance, is huge. The market spoke for itself eventually.
Yeah, that validation must feel powerful. So as we wrap up, we want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought. It comes from Finney's research for Project Diane, her report on Black women founders. She realized her initial venture, Digital Undivided, wasn't working as a corporate entity, not because the idea was bad, but because the corporate world just wasn't ready to invest in Black women founders back then.
Right. So she made a massive pivot. She changed the entire structure to a nonprofit model to keep the vision alive until the market caught up. So here's the question for you. If you find out your amazing idea, even when you validate it, is just fundamentally ahead of its time, ahead of the market.
Are you brave enough to make a huge pivot? Maybe change your whole business model. Maybe even change aspects of your personal life to sustain that vision, to keep it going until the world is ready.
Because sometimes the process, the initial plan, might threaten the potential.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to pivot to protect that potential.
Something to really think about. You got this.